Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Slate, the highest rated edition of the Slate. I am Emerson Lancia. Jeff Ulrich is here. Nick Fryer has joined us as well. Remember, he is a permanent stay now on Wednesdays. Jeff, we are adopting him. We are adopting him as a temporary, gorgeous golf guru. He will officially take over that title once he starts dishing out some winning golf bets, which Fryer says he has a few coming up later in this show. Also, producer Eamon behind the scenes and AC on the ones and twos. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, the key word is temporary. I mean, like he's told me that he's risen to the challenge this week. He's got some golf bets on. We'll see. I mean, it's like we said. I mean, it's like being an intern. You're on a trial by episode basis here, obviously without pay as well. So it's all in Nick's hands. You can take the ball and run with it, or you can cower in the corner. It's we'll see what happens.
Nick, great to have you here, bud.
Sure. Yeah. I'd like to note too that Emerson didn't ever say temporary, so it shows how what Jeff got out of that. So I'm not making it up when I say, what are you doing every single week with this nonsense? I've been bullied into being here for like 7 weeks now. I missed one time because I'm unwell.
You absolutely want to be here. If you're not here, every other analyst we have is begging to sit in that third chair with Jeff and I.
I mean,
I have Lamarca. Lamarca sending me videos. He's singing on his freaking saxophone for crying out loud. Gary and Horn, Julian Edlow, and Steve Buchanan have both offered to come onto this show on Wednesdays to sit in that third chair. It's not. We'll dive more into it afterwards.
Okay.
We'll talk some golf because I'm anticipating some great bets from you. I think you have maybe an NBA bet if you want to dish that out. Jeff could dish out something in the NHL. Hey, the Red Sox just signed Rafael Devers. It's all over Twitter now. 11 years, $330 million. Look at the Red Sox actually doing something right for once, for crying out loud. Like hell is absolutely frozen over. But as we all know, the story of the week since Monday night and the tragedy of Damar Hamlin, who, fingers crossed, continuing to show improvements. He's still in critical condition, but doctors have said the improvements he has been showing, the improvements he showed overnight, way ahead of what they were anticipating. So fingers crossed, we're thinking of him, the entire sports world rallying around Damar Hamlin, his family, the Buffalo Bills right now, even the Cincinnati Bengals. That's GoFundMe, $6.6 million right now, Nick. It is absolutely impressive what people are doing right now. Seriously, I hate Twitter. I hate people a lot of the times, but let me tell you what, like this has kind of restored my faith a little bit in humanity, how generous people have been.
Yeah, it's, I know we've talked about, everybody knows what happened the other day, and it is, and I'll tell you what too, even people who I know who aren't sports fans, this is without even me telling them originally, it's come across their feeds in some capacity, whether it's on Twitter or elsewhere. And it's mind blowing how much, again, you say the sports world, but I mean, it's gone beyond that, how everybody's been impacted by this. And it's awful. And I'm really glad to hear every time we get these updates. I mean, I've never been so happy to seriously see, Schefter or Pelissero tweets on what's going on in the football world. And, seeing what some of the owners have done and everybody else, it's just hope that this continues. He continues to recover well. And the positivity that's come out of it it's been astonishing. I mean, you really put it well.
Yeah. And Jeff, like as the league, which has said right now the game still up in the air, likely not going to be made up. Like, I don't know, like looking at kind of the big picture here, because it started to enter the discussion before week 18 kicks off here on Saturday, Jeff. Like, I don't know, depending on like what the league does, like, I don't believe there is going to be a perfect solution to this for trying to figure out what to do with Cincinnati and the Bills and the impact and the trickle-down effect that it's going to have. What would you say right now is the right thing to do? And I do believe that Bills players and coaches should be the first who are asked about this.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Like the right thing to do is kind of maybe just let the Bills decide. They can give them a couple options, but I think that's got to be the first thing to consider. My personal feeling is I don't think this game should be replayed. I don't think
Yeah.
it should be restarted. I don't think that you should be putting the Bills back to relive it. Not this year. Like they'll meet at Cincinnati at some point. They may even meet in the playoffs. Who knows? But like, you don't need to do that. It just seems unnecessary. You push it back a week. This game might not even have that much meaning. There's so many factors involved. Like you said, trying to juggle that just to get this game off seems a little frivolous. So to me, this comes down to a little bit of the Bills' desires as well. But I mean, you want to pick a no contest. If the Bills want to forfeit, I don't know. But like, I think just not replaying it is probably the best option. Obviously, that's not going to be ideal for some teams. But, as we were talking about before, someone was going to win this game. Like there was going to be a result in this game anyways that wasn't fruitful for some teams. So, it's just really unfortunate. Obviously unfortunate for Damar Hamlin, but for the league and the things that this has happened, but that's really not what's important. Like what's important is obviously the health of the player and then the health of the rest of the players as well. And I think the healthiest thing to do is move on. So, from this game at least and try and get the players centered and focused and obviously focused so that they can focus on their teammate as well. So I don't think this one should be restarted. That's my personal feeling, but there's a lot of options on the table, obviously.
Yeah. And Nick, I saw some reports today that potentially this game between the Bills and the Patriots, that could maybe be up in the air again, depending on how Bills players are doing. I know they canceled media availability today, but they had team meetings. They had a walkthrough. I do believe most of them are back in Buffalo right now. Mm-hmm. So looking at this game, the trickle down effect it could have, it will impact some teams who could be playing for seeding, positioning, just trying to crack the postseason here. Yeah. So you do have to take a cautious approach when it comes to betting. I think Saturdays and Sunday slate here, Nick. Like there's going to be games impacted based on the decision the NFL makes with that game, which they have said today. There was a representative from the NFL who said, we realize we got to make this thing soon and we got to make it before these games kick off this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think Emerson, you and I are kind of talking about it beforehand. I don't have any doubt that the people who have to make the decisions when it comes to what's going on with the schedule now don't have anything to necessarily do directly in terms of helping out and managing the Damar Hamlin situation. So I imagine those people are already working towards, trying to figure out a resolution with this. But as Jeff talked about with the Bills, I think it does come down to their players a lot. And I think that we've seen some exceptions where people haven't necessarily grasped the severity of this situation. I think that, we all have here and then the NFL by and large, and people in the NFL, the players and people who work in it have done a good job of reacting to it. And the serious, as Jeff said, the serious thing is Hamlin and the Bills. The unfortunate stuff is the league and how that's getting impact. But you know what? It's a brotherhood. Like that is what it comes down to. So everybody's going to deal with this together. And yeah, sure. Once the game starts, you're going to go and play and try and, beat everybody as much as you can. But right now, when it comes to this stuff, I'm willing to bet that all the players and all the coaches are very understanding. Like this is going to take a little bit of time and mm-hmm. It's going to be a little weird. But and then when you look at it from a betting standpoint, I know we want to talk a little bit about that. Yeah, I agree. It is a very odd weekend and how to approach it.
It's already odd because it's the last week and it's always
yes, it is.
It's always bizarre. So
yep,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah. So Jeff, like I'm looking at an article here on DK Nation. Maybe you guys contributed to it, maybe you didn't, but because it's DK staff. But anywho, so let's just say this game is declared a tie or they vacate it. So a couple like the scenarios here. Chiefs will simply secure the number 1 seed in the first round bye with a win over the Raiders. It's tough to see the Raiders beating the Chiefs, especially if the Chiefs know kind of like what's at stake. And then you're going to have the Bills. The Bills will likely then end up playing their starters if the game against the Patriots goes down, Jeff, which that wouldn't have been the case had they beat Cincinnati here. So I guess what's your mindset as you're entering this weekend, your betting mindset here, Jeff?
Yeah, just trying to be aware of all the different scenarios. Again, it's a big slate we have. You don't have to touch every game. I think that's the biggest thing with week 18. Really just trying to find some angles that you can hop on and potentially take advantage of. Obviously that stuff with the Bills, the Chiefs, Bengals, pretty up in the air right now. And, like how the motivational factors are going to be for all those. I mean, they did move the Bengals game back from one. That's kind of been the biggest one big move that they've made. That the Bengals game was supposed to be in the afternoon. Now it's moved back to 11 a.m., which is interesting because it's kind of telling us that maybe this game won't matter because the Bengals have already clinched something. So,
by the way, you say for anyone watching, you say 11 a.m. It's 1 o'clock here.
11
on the East Coast. No, it's all good. I want people to, because everything is just moving all over.
Yeah, I know. They're moving it to London. No, 1 a.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Jesus Christ, 1 p.m. Eastern. That's that was the one move that they made today with the Bengals game. But for me, I got a couple angles here. There's been some other things that have been happening. Like Sam Howell's going to be starting at quarterback for the Commanders. I think that could potentially make that game a little bit more interesting offensively, potentially leeching over there. But one of my favorite bets right now is the under on the Tampa Bay Bucks in the Falcons game. Okay. You've got two teams here who, like people are focused on, Brady might play. Like, who cares if Brady plays? This team is averaging 18.5 points this year. Like you've got the Falcons on the other side who are like 6-10 to the overs. You've got the Bucks who are 5-11 to the overs. Like this is going to be a slow paced game. And Brady's not playing the whole game. He might not even play a series. You can get Blaine Gabbert handing the ball off. You're going to get Desmond Ridder throwing like 6-yard passes. This game's going to be over before it starts. You're going to get, it's 24-10, under 40.5. I really like that one. And then the other one I'm going to throw out, I like the Rams this week to cover 6.5 points. Why are we giving Seattle 6.5 points? They beat the Jets at home. Big deal. Like, I mean, this is a division game. The Rams have been scrappy. Cam Akers is running the ball well against a bottom tier rush defense. That's a big spread, man. Give me the Rams there too. Those are probably my two favorite spots right now.
Okay. I know, Fryer, you said before we came on, you had not one, not two, but 3 bets that you liked around the NFL, starting with America's team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, in prime time on Saturday night, 8:15 at the bank, hosting the lowly, pathetic Titans. A win, and the Jags will be AFC South champions.
Here it is.
And Doug Peterson
to grab a permanent spot on the show right here.
And Doug Peterson should be named Coach of the Year immediately after that dub. What is your bet? What is your bet for the Saturday night primetime game?
So I hate that you just built it up so much for people to think like I'm going to go and pick a winner here or something to that degree. I told you that it was a prop. For a player prop for this. Game.
I just want the bet. I want to start there. I want to start on Saturday.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I always try and check those because that's
the only game that they're out.
My guy does his homework. Well, it's a Saturday game too, Jeff.
It is. You think I'm just making these numbers up out of thin air, Jeff? What is this?
Hell yeah.
You're an intern. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, go.
It's funny how the interns have to edit your articles, Jeff. But anyways, Evan Ingram over 46.5. receiving yards. Look, I know last week wasn't really active, but whatever. Now it's 44.5. I think I don't know if it was the juice is a little bit depleted from where it was before, but anyways, obviously quite showing last week, but he's gone over on his receiving prop 10 out of his 15 games that he's played in this season. Now he's only gone over this number 6 times in 15 games, which I know for some people you may look at and say, well, that's not that great. Why is this number so high? Generally speaking, when I see that, whether it's too high or too low, then I'm going to be more interested in that number because if it's too low, I'm going to start thinking about the under. When it's too high, okay, are you dealing with a defense that doesn't handle his position well? Now, when you look at the Titans, only 6 tight ends have gone over this number against Ingram. Now, not this great number, but when you look at the guys who've gone over it, they've absolutely pulverized this number. Evan Ingram being one of them. I think he had his best game of the season. That was the one of the 2 games he went for over 100 yards, and it was like, was it like 162 or something like that? Emerson,
Yeah,
I'm assuming
he just had an insane game there. Yeah.
Insane game. And you look at the tight end groups where it's not like this one featured tight end on that team. We've seen quite a few other times outside of those 6 where they've gone over this number as well. When you got Evan Ingram and he's the centerpiece, when you're talking about the tight ends, and any given week he can be the best receiver or best pass catcher for the Jaguars. I love him in this spot. He also crushed this number in 3 of Jacksonville's last 4 games. And when you look at how he's done at home, he's gone over this number 4 times in 7 games at Jacksonville.
My man, he's put up some ginormous numbers. Like looking at the spread, it's so weird to see Jacksonville favored as a touchdown favorite. It just hasn't happened a lot. And I know they're so much better than the Titans, Jeff. They were there. You can't deny it. Home favorite this year, Jags 0-2 ATS. But I'm gonna say this: they've covered their last 4 games entering week 18.
So, I mean, and look, I'm fine with that. I think getting on Ingram is fine here. I think the one that's interesting because Nick's bet kind of feeds into what I'm going to say here, and you may want to do the earmuff things here for a second, Emerson. It's not that bad.
Oh boy,
you can leave one ear open, but I mean, I do think this game's going to be close. I really do. I don't think you're wrong in saying that the Jags are the better team, and probably by a fair amount. I don't think so, but. My God, like this is just
they have Joshua Dobbs, their quarterback. Their secondary is garbage.
Yes,
and you know what? Trevor Lawrence is going to penetrate it for a second time this season.
This is what happens when you let him think he's the analyst every once in a while. Jeff.
Do you think Josh Dobbs is really that much worse than Ryan Tannehill? Because I don't think so. I actually think Josh Dobbs. The teams and look, I think this actually plays into why Josh Dobbs is starting this game. He's a wild card. Like, do you think the Jags have a bunch of tape on Josh Dobbs?
No. I don't think anybody does. It is the better call from the Titans' perspective. You don't start
absolutely, man. This is a Mike Vrabel special right here, and that's what worries me. Mike Vrabel is very sneaky in these situations. A very good division record. Is going up against some of his against the spread records. Are 8-5-1 as away favorites over the last I think it's 3 seasons. Or away underdogs. It's they're just good in these type of scenarios. They really are. I don't think it's going to be enough. Like I really think that Trevor Lawrence is playing at a level right now where you have to trust him. But I don't know if I want to trust him to cover 6 points. Agreed. That's my issue here. It's 6 points. I think that the Titans probably keep this close enough. I think that Dobbs probably is enough of an X factor that potentially. This is a trouble spot for that Jacksonville secondary. It's quite frankly, they've looked a little bit better in spots second half, but they're still it's a trouble spot. So I think that they got the one thing that I really like what the Titans did last week. They got Robert Woods and Treylon Burks going. Finally, if those 2 guys are a factor here, and they make a couple plays, like that may be all Tennessee needs to keep this within 6. So I would lean Titans here. Probably be a bet for me even, but again. I'm not going to take it too far. I think Trevor Lawrence pulls us out. You've got to respect the level that Trevor Lawrence has risen to here. And I think that's going to be enough for the Jags to eventually win it.
I'm with you on this, Jeff. I'm with you on this. Like, I'm not necessarily going to go back Titans because I feel like it's just I don't fully trust them. But if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with the Titans in this spot. But I do expect the Jaguars to win this one. Part of the reason why I like the Titans, and this is a prop that's not available, and this was the first prop that I was actually looking for, was Derrick Henry in his carries total. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be like the number that I want, but it isn't available yet on DraftKings Sportsbook. I know his rushing yards is up now. It's at 91.5. I'd need to look at some of what Jacksonville's like the running backs have done against the Jaguars this year. Off the top of my head, I don't have it. But in terms of carries, if it's anywhere, I'll say this, if it's below 25, I like it a lot. I think that this, if they have any chance, they're going to put the ball in his hands. You got to give it to your best guy. And this is a way too, where you talk about covering, an easy way for them to cover, 6-point spread. And last thing here, the Titans are getting some players back here on defense. That's another thing.
They rested a lot of their guys last week against Dallas too, Jeff. Like that's going to benefit them. A shorter week for the Jags. But although most of the Jags starter didn't play the second half like last week, and at least it's at home for Jacksonville.
Yeah, and again, Jacksonville, I think. I mean, Here's the thing with Jacksonville. It's obviously, you're the prototypical fan, hyped for this game. If Jacksonville doesn't win this game, you know what? It's not that big a deal. They have such a good future coming up. They got Ridley sitting there coming back next year. Yeah. My God, like this is it's almost like a free roll for Jacksonville. The Titans, this almost feels like the Titans' last stand here. Like, so really interesting game. I hope the Jags blow them out. I am going to be on the Titans +6, but I just love everything about the Jags. Yes. Love the vibe with Doug Peterson. So, whatever. If I lose my bet,
dude, yeah, my man, dude. I'm gonna sit on this couch. I'm not gonna have pants on. I'm gonna be watching the game right here, and I am going to be tweeting up a storm. Mute me now. Mute. Actually, I'm not. I like to dial in. I
gotta dig up my old Mark Brunell jersey somewhere.
Dude, I got mine too. Oh my God. Okay. We'll talk afterwards. Maybe you should come over.
Okay.
Okay. What's another NFL bet you like before we transition to golf?
Okay. Yeah. So I'll go through these two real quick then. So we got Giants at Eagles, Vikings at Bears, two totals that I'm looking at. For Giants at Eagles, I like the over in this one. Is it still at 43? Yes, it is. Now look, the sharps are on this one right now. Last I checked, that it was 26% of the bets, but 30% of the handle. We're going towards the under. Okay, so they're going against my play here. But for me in this one, obviously you got Hurts coming back in this one. And I believe with them, they're playing one of the later games. So, but where do the Cowboys end up playing, Jeff? If you could scroll
they're in the afternoon as well.
They're in that same slot. So they don't have the luxury of knowing what's going on initially. So I think the Eagles are just going to take it to the Giants. They're going to kick the tar out of them. Look, could the Giants still try and help out? Yeah, mate. They try and stick it to the Eagles. Absolutely. But I don't have much in the way of expectations for them. The over is 10-6 in Eagles games, 6-2 in Philly, 4-1 in Philadelphia divisional games. And then when you look at the Giants divisional games too, 3-1-1 too. And then you got some pretty nice weather too. It's like 43 degrees for Philly at this time of year. Amazing. On the other side, for Vikings Bears, I like the under in that one. And that one last I checked was 43.5. And this one has been plummeting. It's at 43 now. This started the day at 46. Obviously, the Justin Fields news is the reason for that. Again, last I checked, we're looking at like 40% of the bets are going towards the under this one, and over 70% of the handle too.
This game is so interesting. Sorry, Nick, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
but like neither of these teams want to win this game, right? Mm-hmm. The Vikings, if they win, they could get vaulted into the second seed and have to play the Eagles or the Cowboys, which is a far worse matchup. And then you got the Bears who are chasing the number 1 seed and like obviously starting Nathan Peterman to try and secure a loss. Yeah. So I agree with you on the under there. I love it. I think like a 24-10 Vikings win, just like because they'll probably play Cousins for the first half at least or something. It's probably likely. So yeah, I like it.
There we go. I don't know how far down I'd play this. I feel like if it got to 41, I'd start feeling a little weird. But you still got a little room at 43 now, but it's not going to get any better at this point.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, gentlemen, now to the moment of truth. Now we're going to turn our attention to the Century Tournament of Champions because the PGA Tour is back, Jeff Ulrich. This is the shortest off season in professional sports.
Thank God.
I couldn't love it anymore. I love these first two events of the calendar year because primetime golf, when again you're sitting on your couch and you're watching dudes live in one of the most beautiful parts of this country and just guys rolling good meatballs, man, tossing darts, mashing piss missiles. Ooh, okay. So who wants to go first here? Who wants to go first?
Me.
Where, you want to go first?
I do. Yes. Because I don't want to be accused of stealing anything from Jeff.
This is great.
Jeff could drone on and on, I'm sure. And obviously with my golf expertise, I like to be succinct with this stuff just because that's how I roll in general.
I love that.
So I have two guys who I think are going to finish in the top 10, possibly top 5 too, worthwhile. Okay. First one, Justin Thomas.
Yes.
And actually, I believe in the course of my research, I saw Jeff was one of the people to highlight how well he's done at this tournament in the past. Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you had it was 5 for 7. Where in terms of him finishing in the top 5 at this
two-time
event.
Winner. Two-time winner.
Yeah. Two-time winner.
Yep.
I'm not sure on the exact top 5.
4 consecutive top 5
like
results.
Yeah.
He has 4 consecutive top 5 results here.
So look, minus 115. I'm comfortable with just going with the top 10. If you're feeling frisky, though, very much so a worthwhile bet. And obviously at plus 210, that's a good number. Sung J M is the other guy that I like in this spot as well. Yeah, I understand the importance of putting at this. I mean, in general, obviously how important it is, but specifically at this course, I get how important it is. And I know he did well last year. He's got 2 top 10 finishes at this event. I believe, Jeff, of course, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe these are only 2 times that he's played here. At least it's the last 2 times that he's done this. All right. So what, plus 130 to finish inside the top 10? I'm totally fine with just going with that. I feel like of the 2 guys, he's the one I feel a little less comfortable going with the top 5. And of course, looking at the numbers, you can understand why. But plus 330, if you're looking at splitting things up a little bit, trying to feel a little frisky, you can go that route too.
I like that. I like those.
I like giving people a little the people a little value. I think that was a good breakdown. You give,
nice
you could look at maybe playing Sungjae at the plus 130 on the top 10, and then Thomas plus 210 on the top 5, maybe mashing those 2 together, weighing out your bets, putting a little bit more on Sungjae, a little bit less on Thomas. You just need one. You grind out a little bit of profit there, Nick. I think that's actually a good call. And I think what Nick did is correct too, because the odds, once you start getting down to Thomas, again, like it's such an elite field. Yeah, Scheffler and Rahm deserve to be the favorite, but you're getting way better odds on Thomas. You go down to that Sungjae range. These are still really quality players, but the odds are they're so much more attractive. So agree with that. I like that call. I'm going to get more crazy because I always talk about the outright market, but
yeah, brother.
I almost bet Scotty Scheffler this week. Like I almost did. I really don't think he's a bad play. He has looked so close to grabbing that second win on so many occasions. Second win, that win after the Masters, I should say, the follow-up win to his major, that it almost just seems inevitable at this point. And his birdie rate has been great. His approach game has been good. At the same time, like my betting card is going to start with him and Hovland down here at around plus 1,800. If you can get, better number on them at plus 2,000 or better, obviously go do it. But I like the upside with both those guys. They both have really good Bermuda putting splits too, especially Sungjae. That's a big factor. I think in a course like this, not only do we have Bermuda greens, but it's obviously an event where putting is just more hyper-focused. There's less around the green game. The greens are so big here that no one misses greens. You're getting 80% green in regulation rates. So when you get a positive Bermuda split putter like Sungjae M, you got to roll with it. And my guy here in the mid-range, though, Nick, you're going to learn a lot about Aaron Wise this year, friend. Strap in. It's young Aaron Wise, who hits it far, has become one of the best putters on tour. He leads the tour in Bermuda putting splits over the last 24 rounds. I think he's just primed for a big year. He's certainly got the talent to do it. Plus 3,500. That is your mid-range target right there. I'm at the very least, I like playing him for the placing this week too. So
I thought you did a great job too, Jeff, for what it's worth.
Yep.
Especially that putting breakdown. It's exactly what
I was just going to say, Jeff, you mentioned players who can get hot with the putter on Bermuda grass. And who's one of the best putters on the surface when he's in form? Billy Horschel.
Oh God!
Come
on, man! Billy it's a new year.
Baby.
We have to talk about Billy Horschel.
No, I'm just saying that he's a different player entering 2023 than he was in years past.
He's a year older and a year.
I'm not saying better.
You're away from the seniors, closer to the seniors.
He's 36. He's in it. I'm in my prime. Ulrich, you did say one name that people are going to be talking about, and we mentioned on the show when you and I are one-on-one in a depth, entertaining conversation this morning on the Sweat, Zalatoris. That's a stay away spot for you because he's back for the first time since August, and we're gonna hear that a lot, I think, throughout the coverage.
I understand. Like when you get down to this range, like Zalatoris, I understand the people who are just going to bet him like every week.
Yeah,
he is that good. I mean, he really is. The swing is so consistent. At the same time, you do kind of got to ask yourself, like, this is a player who's won once on the PGA Tour. I get that we're chasing a number here and the number is big, but I think that big picture here wins out this week. I mean, it's just, this wouldn't have been a tournament where I really would have wanted to bet Will Zalatoris anyways. We're talking about a putting contest where, sometimes the weather gets up a bit, but it's the forecast is great this week. you're going to need Will Zalatoris to potentially gain you like 4 or 5 strokes putting, maybe if his swing is a little off. So I don't know. If you're going to bet this range, just bet Tom Kim, in my opinion. Like it's a better spot. I mean, Kim has proven he can do that with the putter. Like that's the guy I would be chasing here, not Zalatoris. Let's give Zalatoris a little bit of leeway, give him a month to get under his belt. That's what I would do. I mean, I get the people who are just, I've been betting Zalatoris to this point. He finally paid off. Now you're getting plus 2,800. Feels like Christmas. I think that the Christmas may actually be the number you're still getting on Tom Kim, to be honest. I think that's the better number. And so if you're going to go and chase that talent, I would chase Kim this week. He has just proven that in these type of events where you got to get to like 25, 30 under, he can do that. So that's where I would go.
Yeah, man. And Kim nearly earned his way into the Tour Championship. If you remember that, he fell just shy of 35th in the FedEx Cup standings, probably because he was exhausted as hell by the time he got to the BMW Championship, because that was his 7th week in a row competing. Hot damn, dude. Okay. I think we gotta go. Friars or NBA bet. You got a best NBA bet you want to dish out right now?
Friar, I need some NBA action.
Actually, well, you know what? If you go and watch the 4-letter network on TV later tonight, Emerson and I may or may not be talking about this game in some capacity.
Dude, take a picture and tweet it out, and I'll retweet it. You've earned that. Retweet it from both of your accounts. I see you have 2 accounts, bro.
One is all about comic books, and I think Jeff can back me up on this. People who read comics are a little bit of a different breed than people who are all into sports. I understand.
I kind of disagree. I kind of disagree.
But smarter
go ahead.
too.
Okay. Yes. But anyways, it's all the way up to 5.5 right now. And last I checked, Giannis is still not out. And I know what you may be thinking. Oh, let's go with the Bucks. No, I am on the Raptors tonight. And even though I saw this at -3 earlier in the day, and again, before we got Bucks injury report or anything like that. And look, I have, there's numbers that I'm going to break down again when we see Emerson and I talking about it later. But one of the things that I wasn't privy to when we were breaking it down, Emerson, was looking at the betting market and talk about how important sharp money is and seeing where that goes. Last I checked, only 25% of the bets had gone to the Raptors covering in this game. Yet we're seeing 48% of the handle has gone to the Raptors. That is a lot of sharp money in this one. And also that's reverse line movement too. We're still not seeing half the bets going to the Raptors, and they're seeing that number go up. So I don't know how that's happening. I mean, it's a great sign for us because of what the sharps are doing. So I would have liked it if you got it at -3 earlier in the day, but still -5.5, still seeing good numbers around -5 too. So I'm fine with it here.
All right, dudes. That is it. Well done. Okay. Yeah, you're very welcome. Great job by you, Jeff, as well. Great job by Eamon, AC on the 1s and 2s. Do we have Madden coming up next? I'm sure we do. If you're watching us on Twitch, because I believe we don't do those anymore over on YouTube. It is Arizona versus Las Vegas, according to AC on the 1s and 2s. So
David Blau versus Jared Stidham.
Yeah. No, that is
Mr.
probably
Blau.
not going to be the case. Check the rosters before
Mr.
you.
Blau.
Or like Studham.
My name, it's Mr.
All right.
Blau.
We got to go. Are you guys on the show tomorrow morning? You guys on the swap?
I am. Yeah.
Jeff, I think you are too.
Jeff's leading it off, I think.
You're with Pierce. Yeah, we're gonna do some price checks. Start the show.
Pierce,
NFL price
that
check
guy for a while.
Dude, nobody knows where the hell he is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. We gotta go. Later. Love you.
He texted me yesterday.
So he's alive. Okay. All right.